Hey strong people, Beck here from StartingStrongman.com, and today I'm going to recap the Log Lift World Championships, which took place on April 6th in Leeds at the First Direct Arena, put on by Giants Live as a part of the first event and also an exhibition event for Europe's Strongest Man. If you want to see my Europe's Strongest Man recap, then tune in tomorrow, or if this is already tomorrow for you, then it'll be up on my channel. So make sure to subscribe for future videos and information on everything going on in Strongman. So the Log Lift World Championships was the first event for Europe's Strongest Man, and how that works is all the athletes competing in Europe's Strongest Man have to do it, plus a couple of guest lifters. First, some news on some of the guest lifters that did not compete at the event. Brian Shaw of the United States suffered a hamstring injury on the elephant bar doing deadlift, and it's just, you can check it out on his YouTube channel. He's covered this a bunch. Just not ready to compete yet. Hopefully he is ready to compete by World's Strongest Man. Robert Oberst, the current American log press record going into the event, was not able to compete. I heard it was due to a passport issue because of all the derogatory things he said about British people. They held him up at customs at London and sent him back to the United States. Not sure if that's true, but that's the story I'm going with. Anyways, on to the event. The event started at 175 kilos. Iron Biby skipped this weight, and pretty much everyone else got it except Mark Felix and Adam Bishop, who I think just didn't attempt the event. Then we went on to 190 kilos, and everyone made this weight other than Lauren Chalet, who I think skipped it. So that's a lot. Like, if you look at how many people actually hit 190 kilos, which is over 400 pounds, that's a lot of the competitors. Then we went on to 200. It's put out as 203 kilos on here, but it's 200, and it was listed on the event on the live stream, which you can watch at officialstrongman.com, and there's already replays up. If you care enough to watch me babble for 10 or so minutes about recaps, it's worth spending $10 a month to be able to watch this much strongman content, I believe. It was listed at 202.5 kilos. This is where it got interesting. The people that got it, this is where Iron Biby opened. He looked a little shaky, but very strong. Mateusz Kieliszkowski just absolutely crushed it. Graham Hicks crushed it. Rob Kearney looked like it was a practice lift at 203. Hafthor Bjornsson looked a little off. He did do the Game of Thrones premiere like that Friday and flew to New York pretty much overnight to compete in Europe's and this event, so maybe that's an account to why his overhead didn't look quite as good. I think he also spent more time this last year because he did become so dominant and wasn't really losing points on overhead lifting events to focus on other events, namely the deadlift, especially with the Arnold and all of the talk about if anyone can deadlift 500 kilos or 501 and break Eddie's record. I think he put more emphasis on that than his log press, because last year he hit, I believe it was 213, and it looked pretty sound. This year, jumping ahead, he missed 214 and it didn't look very close to me. Gymnasia almost missed 190 in the previously and had to come back and get it, and then somehow blasted up 202.5, and that was an incredible lift that he was able to do that, and that's huge points towards the overall Europe's Strongest Man contest, which I will cover in a future video. Larry Wheels also got it, which was very impressive. So watching the live stream head-on view, it looked a lot better than the side view from the crowd that he posted on his Instagram and in his stories showing it, where he never looked like he had full control. But the judges, there's only front view judges, and from that view, it looked pretty good. He could have held it longer, but there was a point where he was fully locked out, and that's when the judges gave him the down, and I think the instability was after that. They just weren't really requiring the athletes, it seemed today, to hold full control and show that they're in it for an extended period of time, which I feel like you should, especially at a world event. I was able to watch this show live because I was at California Strongest Woman judging the max log press there. And so I, obviously an amateur competition, but even there, I make sure that people have full control, and there's 30 plus athletes and 3 attempts. So I gave down calls on over, 100 logs that day, and I would not have given Larry Wheels a down call on that log. I wasn't there in person. Maybe in person it's a different story, but looking at the tape, and also people want to give them better lifts. This is not a knock on Larry at all. This is more on the judging, and I think that the judging at the top level should be as the strictest as possible. It wasn't for any sort of record or anything, so it's not as important. It wasn't to break the American record with 2:14. Kind of a wash. I think that gives him joint third in the overall log lift world championship, so it did count towards some big money. I think it's around 15 grand to win the log lift world championships, and it goes down from there, and I'm pretty sure there's bonuses if you break a national record. I had the figures last year, don't have them this year in front of me, or haven't got them yet. What is impressive is that Larry, with 2-ish months of direct strongman training, is pressing 202.5 kilos on the world stage amongst the best, and has a log press that's probably as good as 90% or better than 90% of pro strongman. Like 202.5 kilos, that's a weight that people train their whole career to get, and a lot don't. So sky's the limit for him. I said in my preview video that the stability at the top, and just being cognizant to hold lockouts and have a stable upper back in that position was what I feel like is his weakness, and this contest I feel shows that. He'll just have to address that in training, and he has great people around him. But if he addresses that and then continues with it, I have no doubt that he'll be going, because he gave 214 a good push. Like his actual raw power in his shoulders and upper body and pretty much everywhere is immense. So just needs to get used to holding log lockouts, and with my own clients, and I have clients that are right up there with just on the verge of breaking the women's record. That's something that we practice on a lot, is just holding the lockouts for a 2 to 3 count. If you have problems with your stability on the log, just holding them and pushing your shoulders up, and just in this, holding it in that position locked out, will make your log just soar in how stable it is and the weight you can use. I'm sure he's aware of these things with everyone around him. That's more, I'm not trying to coach Larry, I'm just giving whoever is watching this a little bit of log press tips in the middle of this. Unsolicited, of course. Anyways, Hathor missed it. Gymnasia, he gave it a good push. They all got 202.4. Then we move on to 214. Iron Biby skipped the attempt because he wanted longer rest before picking a bigger weight. Kieliszkowski hit it very strong, looked super happy. Was not a Polish record, because that is held by Radzikowski with 217, which going into this day was the second biggest log press ever done by someone not named Zadrunas. And Graham Hicks smashed it for a British record, looked absolutely incredible, looked almost effortless. Rob Kearney hit it with the split jerk, absolutely great technique. So happy for Rob. He now holds, I think, the world record in the 105 kilo / 231 pound male class. At least it's the American record. Not sure if it's still held up as the world, and the American record in the log press, in the open weight log press, beating Robert Oberst's former record of, I think it was 212. 214 is 471 pounds or so. So that would be the third, up at this point, the third highest log press of all time that him and Graham both got, along with Kieliszkowski. just some great lifting. You could tell Rob, he has a split jerk, and it's a very modified split jerk. If you go back on this channel, I have podcasts with Rob, and we talk about implementing that. And it's not the same as how an Olympic lifter does the split. He has modified it great to the log, but you still saw the log got out in front of him. And if anyone says the split jerk is cheating and should be outlawed, first off, you're stupid. Sorry, I just got to say it. You're dumb. There should be less rules in strongman. That's the whole point. If you want rules and all these things on how a weight is lifted, go to powerlifting, go to weightlifting. That's for all the regulations. Strongman's about moving the weight. And if you use if you use efficient technique to do that, fine. I don't care. You can kill me in the comments, but you're still wrong, and I'm right. And Rob holds the American log press record. Other things to note is when he got it and it was here, and it was a little out in front of him, guess how he finished it? By pressing the weight out. He is still strong as hell. He doesn't use the split jerk because he's not strong. He uses it because he's smart and efficient and can actually pull it off. So that breaks Oberst's log record, and Hicks broke Eddie Hall's British record by hitting 214. Kielszkowski, does not hit the Polish record. We'll go on to 220. Kielszkowski missed it. Iron Biby hit it fairly easily. Very impressive. That is now the second biggest log press of all time. And Kearney gave it a good attempt, got it about here, just not enough shoulder and leg drive to get it to the point where he could catch it in the split jerk. Graham Hicks fought that thing like it was he was fighting for his life. I don't think that there was full control. I don't know if anyone has seen. If you have, please send them to me, some alternate views of Graham's attempt. But in the live stream, they were only showing his upper body, so it's hard to see what's going on with his legs. But it looked like he had it locked out, maybe not under full control, but probably as good as Larry's earlier lifts, I'd say. But it's really hard to say without seeing what was going on with his lower body because the lift was not given to him. Looked pretty mad. They let him attempt it again. Wasn't there. Magnus actually laughed about it for Magnus because he's the head judge. He is a rough head judge. That's why I was surprised that lifts like Larry's were allowed, just from how strict he is in the past. I think he's a little less strict on the specific strongman stuff and more strict on deadlift coming from the powerlifting background. But anyways, Biby got it. That won him the show. Then they took like a big break and let Biby attempt 229 for the overall world record, trying to beat Zadrunas'. He kept going. It was this big thing, and he just couldn't clean it. It looked like he was just out of gas. Those two attempts at such a heavy weight was all he had in the day. He's so strong, and his raw shoulder power and upper body strength is probably better than anyone in the world at this specific time. But his conditioning. His clean looked a lot better. I think his technique overall is much, much better than last year. He just looks like he keeps getting bigger than bigger, and I just don't think he's conditioning-wise in the shape to do a full show. Like, he can do 1-2 big lifts a day, which he did. He did 2 big lifts. It didn't even really seem like a strength issue. It just didn't seem like he was recovered enough to do that third attempt. And we're talking about world record weights, so that's not out of the ordinary, but and there's no fault in that, I don't think. But I think if he wants to compete in full strongman shows, and he has to do 5 events that are ran fairly quickly, like at Giants Live, he probably would be better off just stop focusing so much on the overhead log lift record and just being in overall conditioning shape for strongman. It was a great event. Giants Live puts on great events. Crowd looked like they loved it. It went into Europe's. Kielszkowski won the event as far as Europe's strongest man points go, getting 1.5 points on half door because he tied with Janasia at 202.5, and Kielszkowski got 214. Some news. I've heard speculation that next year Eddie Hall is going to do the log lift world championships. I'm just assuming. I'm just reading between the lines. I think he said on his live stream that he wants to lose weight and get in shape. You can see his eyes in some of the training he's done with like Brian Shaw, where they're both lifting log and he feels strong in it again. And especially now that his British record has been taken and the world record hasn't been pushed up any higher, I think it's the one thing that he really still irks him. And I'm going to call it, I'll bet people money that next year, 2020 Log Lift World Championships, Eddie Hall is going for it. And I think he's going to put all of his focus in after he does, this diet thing a little bit and his, some of the movies he's filming up. I think he's going to put at least a full 6 months focus straight into the Log Lift World Championships. I know the fans would love to see it. I'd love to see it. I may be wrong, but I'm right a lot of the time. So thanks for watching. I'm Kalle Beck. Let me know what you thought and if you think Eddie could break the world record or the British record next year. Or if you think Biby or Hicks or even Kearney could do it, and and your thoughts on the events and who else should be included, and of course hit subscribe. Follow me on social media at Let Kalle Lift and at Starting Strongman for all the latest strongman news and information. Go to store.startingstrongman.com for all of your strongman training needs. And if you want to watch the event I'm talking about and future upcoming shows, go to officialstrongman.com and sign up to be a member.